Is this working? Well, probably all wondering what on earth that was. Benjamin Britten, one of my favourite composers. I introduced Hugo to this composer on Zoom in deepest lockdown, and Hugo fell in love with him, fell in love with Britten. Tell us about your love for Benjamin Britten.
In French or in English?
In English, yeah.
Well, it's going to be short, so. Yes, because of Lucy, we spoke a lot, of course, online, because it was during the first lockdown, and she introduced me, the first pieces she introduced to me was a piece for guitar he wrote for the famous Julian, we say Julian in French, Julian Brim, great guitar player who passed away, I think 1 or 2 years ago. And so after that, I was so curious about his own composition, and it's amazing because it's impossible to explain exactly what is the music of Benjamin Britten, because sometimes it's just some simple melody with simple chords, sometimes it's totally abstract. And so I found a lot of stuff because I had time during the lockdown to do a lot of research. And thanks Lucy for that, because it's not so famous in France. Some people play some opera playing, but not a lot of people know really the works of Benjamin Britten.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and at the beginning we played a song called Old Abraham Brown. The words of that song are, "Old Abraham Brown is dead and gone. You'll never see him more. He used to wear a long brown coat that buttoned up before. And on his feet 2 silver shoon and buckles by the score. Old Abraham Brown is dead and gone. Never, never, never more." And Hugo just showed me this one day out of the blue. I think it was trying to have some crisps or something at the time. And Hugo was talking to me about how his interpretation of that is not that the man's dead, but that he's reinventing his life. He's gone to a new, he's gone into a new chapter of his life. And it made Hugo think of, because he was visiting his brother in Le Havre, where the ferries leave to come to Portsmouth. And his brother gets up quite early for breakfast and has quite a military breakfast. He's very clear about what he wants in the morning, and where things are and what time things have to happen. And Hugo wanted to keep out of his way, basically. So he got up even earlier than the brother and kind of fled and went to watch the boats leave the port, and just so his brother could have breakfast in peace. And so, and as Hugo was watching the boats leave, it made him think of this song, because it made him think that, because it's from the Bible, and it's about Moses, and it's about how actually he's not dead, he's just being taken off to his new life. And the best way to go to your new life would be by the sea, right? Because you can't get caught by the police and the CCTV on the roads. So we talked a lot about how the sea is quite a free place. And I know it says it in the programme, but just to say what this is all about, we were both born in Portsmouth, and we both have a big, well, I'm sure lots of you were born near the sea as well, and I live in London now, and Hugo lives in Paris, but I definitely miss the sea, and every time I'm near the sea, I feel some kind of, familiarity and some sense of home. And so because we have this in common, what we've done here is explored as much repertoire as we possibly can in jazz, in folk, in classical, in biblical music, and found lots and lots of music about the sea. And this concert is looking at some of that music. I think we must have looked at about 50 pieces in the last week or so, but here's for you today about 7. And that was the first one. That was Britten's, from his opera Peter Grimes, and that, if you want to look it up later, it's called the 4 Sea Interludes. And it's for orchestra normally, but we've tried to work it out for the 2 of us. So now we're going to move on to another sea piece. And this one is called Love My Love. And it's a Cornish folk song. And, obviously, Cornwall's a great place to see some sea. So let's see how this goes.
Yeah, I just hope my brother not watching the show. Thank you.
collaborating and exploring all of this sea music, we realised that we weren't finding many sea pieces by female composers. And so we hunted for some, and we found this really beautiful tune, which Hugo needs to tune to. Have you done that already?
No, it was the first time I discovered that.
Have you retuned your guitar?
Yeah,
Oh, right.
yes, I changed
Magic.
guitar.
Okay, let's do it. See if you can recognise it first, and then we'll tell you what it is after. chose to play that at the beginning was, you know, the very beginning, the really low notes, and then how it gets quite dissonant, and it reminded us of bells, and we started to hear, because we got quite fascinated with these bells. Britton, the composer, he seems to develop his material. One of the ways he develops his material, rather than finding new harmony or new bit of line, a new bit of melody, he just starts, he repeats the same idea, the same melody, or the same harmony sequence, but just starts plonking in these kind of quite daring, bold, dissonant chords and sort of bass notes quite low down. He gives it to the tubas and the double basses and the orchestra. And yeah, we got quite interested in this and the relationship between church bells, and we've been rehearsing in this beautiful church thanks to Tom and John, who set us up here. And yeah, we've just been really enjoying playing around with bells, haven't we? And we've actually been hearing bells in every piece now. Maybe we just started hearing bells in everything. Maybe we're going mad. It's possible. So now we're going to play you a French piece. We've tried to get a mix of English and French music. Hugo's looking confused. Yeah, we're going to play the Debussy, if I can find it. Do you want to do that?
Yeah, of course.
Here we go. So yeah, this piece was written for four hands, so a duet, and it's part of a suite that was based on some poems by Callen, and it's called En Bateau, and we're mucking around with it. We've been thinking about how to bring together Hugo's jazz improvisatory approach to music and my quite classically trained approach, and it's not easy. We've had lots of quite kind of confusing conversations, but we think we've got somewhere. We'll hear what you think anyway. about Tom Bowling?
Yes, a little bit, but I'm afraid. Yes, the next one is a beautiful tune written by what is his name? Charles Diblin. Charles Diblin.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't know, of course, this guy before. I think he's a writer, but a musician, a writer. He was a theater person from the 18th century. Was born in Southampton, and discovered this song with an extract on a video by Benjamin Britten at the piano, and a singer named Peter Pears, I think. Peter Pears.
Pears, yeah.
Peter Pears. And I just fell in love with this song, and after I look at the not just the melody but the lyrics, and it speak about Charles Diblin, elder brother, who passed away during comment tu dis, un naufrage.
Oh yeah, in a shipwreck.
Yeah, exactly. And he wrote it for his brother. It's a beautiful one.
Yeah, I think something that we've been discovering as well in looking at all the repertoire of the sea is how the sea is a very peaceful place, but it also can be quite a tempestuous place, and a lot of the music has, juxtaposed those two ideas, and yeah, this is obviously quite a tragic song about someone that died at sea.
I do an intro. I do an intro.
back to some instrumental music and back to France. We've now got some Ravel for you. improvisation going on, which I'm not as comfortable with as Hugo. So now, to get my own back, I'm going to read a poem about the sea. It's one of my favourite poems about the sea, because a lot of the music we've been playing is very, I guess it's quite romantic in the way that it talks, in the way that, the way that it explores the sea. The sea is often used in quite romantic contexts or tragic contexts, but this poem does away with all of that and actually wants to talk more about litter on the beach. And this poem is from the 1980s, so it's quite ahead of its time. I think now it's pretty common to go to a concert and they'll be talking to you about environmental issues, right? It's got to be in the programme. But in the 1980s, we were quite impressed with how ahead of its time it was, this poem. And so just to get our own back on Hugo now, who's been putting me in all sorts of uncomfortable situations all week. You know, where I say, I'd like a structure. And he says, no, it's cool, we just feel it. And I say, well, what about some kind of just template or skeleton? Just a rough idea. No. So we're going to get our own back now. And I'm going to read the poem and we're going to see what he does. Yeah? So it's called To the Sea. To step over the low wall that divides road from concrete walk above the shore brings sharply back something known long before, the miniature gaiety of seasides. Everything crowds under the low horizon, steep beach, blue water, towels, red bathing caps, the small hushed waves repeated fresh collapse, up the warm yellow sand, and further off, a white steamer stuck in the afternoon. All of it, still going on. To lie, eat, sleep in hearing of the surf, ears to transistors that sound tame enough under the sky, or gently up and down, lead the uncertain children, frilled in white, and grasping at enormous air, or wheel the rigid old along for them to feel. A final summer plainly still occurs as half an annual pleasure, half a right. As when, happy at being on my own, I search the sound for famous cricketers, or further back, my parents, listeners to the same seaside quack, first became known. Strange to it now, I watch the cloudless sea, the same clear water over smoothed pebbles, the distant bather's weak, protesting trebles down at its edge, and then the cheap cigars, the chocolate papers, tea leaves, and in between, the rocks, the rusting soup tins, till the first few families start the trek back to the cars. The white steamer has gone. Like breathed on glass, the sunlight has turned milky. If the worst of flawless weather is our falling short, it may be that through habit these do best, coming to the water clumsily undressed, yearly, teaching their children by a sort of clowning, helping the old too, as they ought. And that's a poem by Philip Larkin called To the Sea. need a time check from Tom. Is Tom here? Has he given up on us? How are we doing for time? He told me that the seats are quite hard on the back, so I need to be... Huh?
We've done an hour.
Have we? Okay, we've got one more song then. One more song. And for this song, we would like to introduce, someone very important to me, my old music teacher at secondary school. Old in terms of, my experience as a very, very young but old music teacher from secondary school who helped us come here to do this project over the last 10 days and who's been a huge inspiration to me in my musical development. So this is John Gledall, who you all probably know, bit of a star in Havant. And this is a piece that he's written and that Hugo is going to improvise. And I think I might have to sit down, actually. Quite looking forward to it.
Right, just to introduce the song. By the way, I've got to say, I've had, in my very long career, I've had lots and lots and lots, hundreds probably, of young people playing piano go through the system. And there are those who play all the right notes in all the right order, which is fine, but there are others who actually play the music. And speaking as one guitarist to another, he's annoyingly good, isn't he? Right. So this song was written, it's from a play with songs, which was written by Lucy Flannery, who's a local Havant playwright, and Greg Moss, who I work with a lot. And they came to me and said, we need 3 or 4 songs for this show. And they wanted a folk song that sounds as though it was written, forever ago. And they wanted it to be, this musical is called Poison Beds, and it's about the Emsworth oyster industry, so it fits really nicely with that poem. Is that an accident? See what she was doing there, nice links. And it's about the famous incident when the Bishop of Winchester had a banquet, and the Dean passed away because he ate some of the oysters which were poisoned with typhus from the Emsworth oyster beds, which is the end of the oyster industry in Emsworth, which was actually incredibly disastrous for the whole town, because the whole town lived on the oysters. But this is a song which is sung by the lady, the heroine of the show, who explains what happened. And it's about when she was a young lady walking out with one of the oyster barons who wooed her. And it's called Shoreline to the Sea. So imagine her walking along the shoreline at Emsworth. As we went to walking by the salt sea strand, our hearts too full for speaking, I reached out for his hand. His eyes, they held a promise, those eyes so sweet and blue, and I read their message plainly. They said, I will love thee true. And my heart flies free like those birds above the harbor, and I know that he'll stay true to me like the shoreline to the sea. Yes, my heart flies free like those birds above the harbor, makes my heart fly free, like those birds above the harbour. And I know that he'll stay true to me, like the shoreline to the sea.
So much, John. Well, thank you everyone for coming. It's been really, really, really lovely to be welcomed in Haven, and we'll keep working hard on our project. It's just the beginning, and we'll keep in touch with what's next. And I really want to say a massive thanks to Tom. I don't know where he's gone again. Is he hiding? Tom, if you can hear us, there he is. Really generous. He let us in every day. He gave me keys. It's quite trusting, isn't it? We've been using this church to explore this music. And so, thank you so much, Tom.
Aren't they great? Isn't that just the most amazing music? And it's all been recorded and put on a live stream, so when you get home you can listen to it again. If you just go onto our website, just go to stfaith.com and you can just let this music wash over you again, because it's been so beautiful, so creative, so magical, and so live. You know, all that improvisation that could just be lost in the wind, but actually we can hear it again when we go home. So thank you, Lucy. Thank you, Hugo, for an absolutely splendid afternoon. Do come again. We hope you will. God bless you.